Hey everyone, welcome back to Navajo Tea Time. If you're in the chat, let us know if you can hear us, because as always, we are not that technically savvy. um, yeah, and Adrian's here with us, so it was really cool.
Hey everyone, I'm back. Just kidding. All creepy.
So just had you like sneak on to the frame.
I know, like just pop up, y'all. Slowly rise up from the bottom.
Yeah, so how's everyone's month been? It felt like April took forever, but then also it was May before I knew it. And I don't know if that's how you felt, Adrian.
Yeah, April was a really good month for me, so I think the pace was good, but yeah, moving into May, it's getting a little chaotic and it's only day three, so.
Right, like I had some people asking me for some flyers for events that they had in May, and like, how soon
Hmm.
will you have the flyers? We kind of want it really fast. I'm like, why? May isn't, it's next week. Okay, I'll get those flyers put together.
You mean like to design flyers for them?
Yeah, they're like, we have an event in May and we want it, to have flyers. I was like, okay, okay, I'll work on it when I have
Oh my
time. And
gosh.
they're like, how soon can you get them to us? I was like, why the rush? May's only, oh, it's next week. Okay. And I was
You're like,
just,
as a marketing expert, just kidding. Promotion should be 2 months before the event, so all requests for May should have come in February.
well, they were saying like they were asking someone else to do the flyers, but it's like a family member and they were taking a little while to get back to them on anything. And so they're like, you make flyers? Can you do it for us? I was like, sure. Yeah, so I wasn't their first choice, so they were planning ahead of time. It's just sometimes people take a while to respond back. Yeah, so I guess we'll get right into the
Hey
topic.
everyone, welcome back to Navajo Tea Time. If you're in the chat, let us know if you can hear us. My bad. I was watching the chat, everyone.
I hate hearing
Let
my
me
voice
turn the
played back.
volume down. Hi, everyone.
It's like, that's what I sound like to everyone else.
So I feel like we should do a. We don't really have an intro for things, but I think maybe we can do like a little. Do you want to do a little check in with each other? Kind of like, do you remember how we used to do roses and thorns?
I think we did that once,
What's
but
your
yeah.
rose? What's your thorn? Yeah.
All right, well, since you're the guest, you start. I'm just kidding.
Okay. So I think my rose was I've had some really great adventures in the past few weeks, and I'm working on a vlog for Navajo Tea Time. So you guys will get a little glimpse of what that looks like. But a little sneak peek is I'm doing a travel vlog. So I did a little bit of travel and I went to see some concerts also. Social Distortion and Bad Religion were in Mesa this past month. And so my husband and I went to that and it was pretty awesome because he'd always wanted to see Bad Religion, never saw them live. We'd seen Social Distortion this is probably like our fifth time seeing them in concert. So it was really fun. Yeah, that was probably like the highlight though. But yeah, you guys will kind of get a glimpse of that when the vlog goes live. And then my thorn is probably um I think like the kind of like the most recent res drama has been really really tough. I think it was like really tough past few days. So it's definitely a thorn, like a thorn in my heart, in my psyche. Yeah. What about you?
I guess Rose for me, we did that workshop, which is really fun. I didn't think I'd enjoy it as much, but then being able to answer all the questions that everyone had
Hmm.
about like, oh, why would you, set a frame up this way? Like, I know that answer. Um, so
Hmm.
it's just nice to share knowledge with other people who are really interested and passionate about learning your trade. Um, so that's one of my roses. We got a new little kitten, um, a tiny one. That's kind of a
Hmm.
rose and a thorn, because it's a little too little. And just before we started streaming, he kind of like pooped near my chair. Um,
Oh
so I
no.
had to clean that up before I started working. Um,
Oh, that sucks. I'm sorry.
yeah, but I guess another thorn is just like it's getting hotter,
Mm.
and
Hmm.
I can just imagine the electricity bill with having to like put the AC on, especially if we want to work during the day.
Hmm. Oh, hey, Brady's on. He's all,
Yeah.
who's that, Nate? Hey, Brady. That's cool. He wrote, I finished my internship today. Bittersweet. It's my birthday. I need a month off. Can one of you do my headshots on graduation invitations for $20? That's Kelsey.
I
She's the
usually
expert.
charge $50 for quick headshots, depending on how heavy the editing is. But yeah. um, I guess one of like the bigger
That's cool.
thorns is like recently, like you said, so it's kind of like the topic I wanted to like touch on too today is like
Hmm.
having like a more, I don't know, a better emergency alert for the chapters here.
Hmm.
Because definitely the only place anyone was getting their information was either from person to person or Facebook. When people would like, oh, this is
Hmm.
the information I gathered, and here's me just updating everyone. Um, and I felt like we need a more efficient way to let people know when there's a danger or something going on in the community, at the extent that it was. Because I don't know if everyone knows, but we had like a domestic um, violence incident in our community, and there was a shooting, and one of the suspect fled into the community, and so
Hmm.
not being able to know what's going on, the only people who really knew up to date information were the people who had the police scanners, and
Hmm.
so
Oh, yeah, I had one. Yeah. Kelsey with
I
her
just
police scanner.
No, I remember my dad used to have a police scanner, and then like sometimes he'll just like call me up. He's like, "Hey, what's going on over on your side of Cameron?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "I heard this police." I'm like, "I don't know what to look at." So I'm like, "Oh yeah, there are lights outside, like at the other person's house." It's like,
You're all spying with your binoculars.
yeah. So it's just like, and I was thinking like they have those Amber Alerts, and I get them on my phone from
Hmm.
like people on the other side of the country or down in Tucson or Phoenix, and like we get
Hmm.
notifications there. It would be nice if the chapters and the tribe would set up something for our communities for Amber Alerts or even just like community alerts when there is something this dire going on, because the
Hmm.
schools were on lockdown.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I think I feel like the reason why they're kind of not as open with updates is because they want to minimize panic, and they notify, the hospitals, they notify regional law enforcement, and of course the school, so all the kids are safe. And I really felt bad for all the kids because, like just being told that there's an actual dangerous situation happening, like right outside their campus doors, the campus gates, and not knowing, what the situation is, just knowing they have to be, I guess they have to follow that protocol. It's like really sad. I feel bad for them.
Yeah, but it wasn't just because they said Cameron's in, like they said, oh, the community be shelter in place.
Mhm.
And how are you supposed to tell everyone to shelter in place when you can't reach
Mhm.
everyone? And I know
Mhm.
they had it on KTNN, and then eventually Calf Country picked up the news story too. But it was
Mhm.
definitely, oh, I see this online. I'm going to call my grandma and tell her what's going on and let her know, because she
Mhm.
doesn't listen to the radio. She can't find a good AM radio to pick up
Mhm.
her KTNN anymore. I guess they stopped making AM radios because
Are you serious?
we've been to so many like electronic stores and everything is like, oh,
Mhm.
it's a speaker that connects to your phone that you can stream music. I'm like,
Mm.
she wants an AM
Really?
radio. And it's like, it's been
Like we need
so
an
hard.
antenna.
It's just been so hard to find one.
Mhm.
And yeah, so being able to communicate, like, hey, we want you guys to shelter in place. It'd be nice to be
Yeah.
able to say that instead of, oh, I have to hop on Facebook and check every 10 minutes if there's an update. And then just being able to
Mhm.
say, oh, yeah, shelter in place, or oh, there's an all clear.
Yeah,
Just
and it was like
letting
a
people know.
multi-day event too.
Yeah, I think it started on Monday and Thursday night was, I think, he was
Mhm.
apprehended.
Yeah, I was in San Francisco. I was actually like in Haight-Ashbury, and I got a phone call, and my friend called me and told me she's from Cameron.
Hmm.
And she's like, "Hey, I want to let you know this is happening." And I was like totally caught off guard. And unfortunately, we know three of the four people that were involved, two of them very closely. And so when she called me, I was just like devastated, right? Like, oh my God, I cannot believe this is happening. And like, it just totally dampened my whole mood. I was like, it was like, it was like getting like kicked really hard. You know what I mean? Like, it
Hmm.
was like a gut punch or something. I was like, dang. And then I couldn't really enjoy anything around me after that. And like I told my husband what was happening, and he's like, oh man, you know. And so of course you have to make phone calls and you gotta like check on people. And we were scared because we didn't know what was gonna happen, right? Like your mind just goes to like all the various scenarios that could play out, and it was really scary. And then just like having to check up to like, you know, what's the status, what's going on, and like I because I knew them pretty closely, we were getting like pretty quick updates like from the FBI.
Hmm.
So I knew everything that was happening before anyone on social media was, but like it's not my position to be out there, you know, like updating. Um, but yeah, it really sucked. It was really awful. And there are all these rumors too that like was getting that was really irritating me too, like all the rumors that were flying around. And I was like, man, that sucks, like for everyone involved.
Hmm.
And people were just running with them too. I'm like, man, like this isn't even like you don't even know. You know what I mean? Like you don't even we don't even know exactly what happened, and people are just blowing everything out of proportion. And I got on a call with my mom, and she was like, I heard this and I heard that, and I was like, don't believe it. Like that's not true. You know what I mean? So it was just a mess. But yeah, and we still don't know. You know what I mean? They're still like questioning people, and like that they're still doing their investigation. They haven't released anything official yet. So like we don't know what led up to it. We don't know what the motivation was. We don't know what the provocation was. We don't know, you know, how things played out. But it is really sad though because, you know, people got hurt and somebody lost their life, and it's really sad. I feel bad for the family, and like because we're from that region, you know, I think we probably both know people, right? Like who interacted with them or knew their family, and I feel like the whole community gets hurt by it.
Yeah, for sure. And I think just like not knowing the details is definitely what like people run with because they want to know and then they just start
Yeah.
making up stories and they're like, oh, I saw someone say this, so I'm going to repeat it. And it definitely
Mhm.
gets like the game of telephone
Mhm.
definitely
That's what
happens.
happened. And I heard
And
it wasn't just Facebook too. Like my one of my other friends, her daughter was like getting all her updates on TikTok. So it was like on
yeah,
all the different social media platforms.
it's the
I
only
was
way
like,
to
dang.
get information. And,
Mhm.
because there's so many people in the community on the social media. and it's
Yeah.
easier, I guess.
People were like doing their investigations too. Like I had another friend who called me and she was like, "So I did my investigation and like this is what I found out." But yeah, I don't know. It sucks.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I was seeing some posts and some people were like, "Oh no, I knew so and so. I can't believe this happened." And I don't like I don't know,
Mhm.
like I saw a couple of posts that were like in a way trying to defend the person who they were trying to apprehend, like the person who was the
Mhm.
suspected shooter. And they're like, well, I'm sure there's an excuse or there's a reason for why he did what he did. And it feels like people are already trying to
Mm.
like come up with excuses or defending. And I felt like that was like really disrespectful to to the people who are injured and the person who lost their life and their families, trying to
Mhm.
immediately come up with like, oh, well, they must have done something wrong to get hurt. And it's really hard to try
Mhm.
and like not step on toes or like it's definitely like we need
Mhm.
to wait and see exactly what the story is. And
Mhm.
natives, they just like telling stories.
I think people in general like telling stories for real, huh? Especially small town folks. It's like,
Oh my gosh,
we
the
don't have a lot of
rumors. My sister called me and she's like, "So someone's saying that my dad's daughter got shot and was one of the people who got shot, and grandma
oh
called asking
no.
if my dad had any other kids." I'm like, "I don't think he had any other kids. I think it's only you two." He's like, "Yeah, so I guess I got shot, Kelsey, all the way here in Yuma." She's been in
Oh
Yuma for
no.
like a couple of years, and it's like, I don't think. I was like,
Oh
okay.
my gosh.
And so
Jeez.
it's
I know.
silly the way the rumors start flying. And my
I know, and
family,
like I
oh,
was gonna say people's names are getting thrown in there too. It's like, wait a minute, they weren't even involved. Like, what are you talking about?
like my sister doesn't even live in Cameron anymore. She hasn't been here for the past 2, 3 years. And
Poor thing.
I don't
Oh
know.
my god.
My family just deals with the situation with humor. We've always done that. So like, I was calling my grandma. So grandma, if you see someone suspicious running around, just leave them alone. She's like, no, I'm gonna run up there and say, hey, you got a gun? I'm like, grandma. She was just laughing. She's
Oh
like,
my god.
how am I gonna run up to someone with a gun, Kelsey? I said, just be aware, grandma. I'm not telling you to go apprehend the person yourself.
That was another thing too. I saw people like doing that. They're like trying to rally the troops, like, let's go find them or let's go find that person. And I'm like, what are you gonna do if anything? You know what I mean? Like get in the way or put yourself in danger. I mean, because all the notifications that were going out were like, don't approach this person, they're dangerous, they're armed, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
And it's like, what are you gonna do? Like, so I don't know. I know people like to be the hero, but still, I'm kind of like, oh my God, you don't even know the situation. Like, don't make it worse. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like,
Like,
I was like, honestly, I was like praying so hard like the past few days because I didn't want to, like, I don't know. It's like you don't want to lose anybody else. You know what I mean? Like, losing one life is hard, but more than that, it's like, I don't know. It's really messed up.
for sure. And then like just trying to like keep my daughter from panicking.
Mm
Um,
hmm.
because
Mm
we picked her
hmm.
up from school, and I'm like, hey, Frankie, how are you doing? How is school? She's like, it's okay. We took a nap so we wouldn't panic. And I'm like, is that what you heard
Oh
the
my
teachers talking
gosh.
about? And but she was so nonchalant about it, like,
Mm
yeah, we
hmm.
took a nap so we wouldn't panic. I'm fine. I was
Oh
asleep
my
in
gosh.
school. But then,
Mm hmm.
because usually we go on a walk in the afternoons just to, get the steps in. And I'm like, we can't go
Yeah.
on a walk today, Frankie. She's like, oh, because of the criminal? And I'm like, yeah. Because I'm sure the school had to say something, you know.
Yeah.
And they said they were
Yeah.
going to have like a police officer trying to tell kids, hey, stay inside, stay in your home, don't go wandering around. If you see anyone suspicious, let somebody know,
Mm
and all
hmm.
that other stuff. So it was really trying to just not get your kid panicky, but also like, what do we do? Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I mean, like I said, I didn't know what was happening, um, like when it was happening, but I guess like people were posting up about it. I didn't know until I got the call. because I haven't really been on social media that much because I'm still in class. My classes don't end until today, so the last day. So I've kind of been trying to like take a break and not be so immersed in it. But yeah, it was
Yeah,
wild.
for sure. It's
And I
like,
was just like, oh shoot, I know people there. Like I know Kelsey. Like what the heck? I hope she's okay. And then I saw you like in your post, and I was like, oh, she's fine.
oh, she's fine. I'm a hermit. I don't go out and do nothing. I'm fine. Yeah, it was.
Y'all
I don't know.
marked safe.
It was funny because like some people were calling like, "Oh, do you know who was?" But like I don't know any names. Oh, do you think it was so and so? I'm like, I have no idea. Like, oh, I'm gonna go call someone else and gossip with them. I'm like, you go do that. I don't want to make stuff up,
hmm
especially since I have this channel and then I run the community bulletin board on
Yeah, that's what I
Facebook.
saw. I was like, oh, that's Kelsey.
Like just like
The reporter is on the beat.
I wasn't even trying to be like a reporter. I was just like, this is the facts. This is where we're at. This is what Calf Country said on their little news report that I could find about it, and on like whatever the school told us. Just try
Mhm.
to open and you know, yeah. So that was the drama in my community. So I guess like for the chat, what's the news in your little community or your giant town or your little neighborhood? Do you have any news from your neck of the woods, Adrian?
mm, Not really. There's this group that was causing trouble. I think they call them the Gilbert Goons. They're like a bunch of kids misbehaving. Um, that's like the only thing I heard about. I kind of live in an area that's I don't know. The most people do in this region is like just race their cars. Like people like are racing their sports cars around, so it's kind of annoying. When I moved here, there was like everything was fine, and then like I don't know, maybe a couple weeks in, there's this one wall like that kind of runs parallel, and then yeah, so it looks like somebody ran into it because a bunch of the bricks were missing. So there's like a little hole in the wall. But people love to race like in my neighborhood because there's hardly any. I don't know if there's a lot of police, but it seems like it's not really regulated. So that's about it. Sometimes you hear people like skidding out. So it's like, oh shoot. Like I always get scared because I'm like, no, I hope they don't crash. And then like you hear them like, ah, and then after that, like they just take off again. Like, okay, they're fine. My cool car sound, sorry.
It's fine.
That's like that's them fishtailing a and then there was this one thing called or this one thing we encountered. So in the East Bay area, San Francisco area, these people they're doing these things where they're like going into intersections and they're kind of racing in circles. I forgot they were called, like burnouts or something like that. I forgot. But they closed down one of the bridges and they're just kind of like causing a ruckus. It's hilarious. Anyways, we're driving around and we saw like remnants of it. There was like black skid marks and stuff in some of the intersections. So that was, I guess, kind of cool. I saw some videos of it. And it actually it's like a party. Like they're a total nuisance. Like they're shutting down traffic and they're all like racing in circles and people are like hanging out windows and they're like dancing and they're playing music and like one guy like almost got clipped by a car. I was like, ah, stupid kids. But it looks fun. So you might see me doing that. Just kidding.
I'm just thinking about the cost of gas.
Yeah, I know, right? Especially in California. Like, what are you thinking? That's privilege right there. Yeah, that's about it. I mean, there's a lot of stuff happening with ASU. Like the powwow is last week. That was cool. Um, and then there's a whole bunch of like summer camps that are rolling out too through the university, through Dana College, NAU. So if you have kids that are like school age, K through 12, mostly high school students though, they're doing a lot of cool camps for kids. Like I saw a media camp that's being held at NAU. They have an entrepreneurial camp at NAU. Denver College has their agricultural camp. ASU has their they have these summer programs. There's an art summer program at ASU West Valley, and then there's also the, I believe it's called Inspire. They have Inspire, Recharge, and Spirit, and they're kind of like programs set up for incoming freshmen, high school students who are, trying to decide where they want to go. And I saw some camps too, like in North Dakota for STEM students or people who are interested in medical careers, like Native students. And then there's also like some film camps too, like at Berkeley University, or yeah, Berkeley, UC Berkeley. So I don't know if you have like school age kids, you should look into that because I was talking to some friends of mine. They're Dinetu, and their daughter went to Harvard. And I was asking them like, how do you get your kid into Harvard? You know what I mean? Like it's a huge accomplishment, right, for the family. And they were like, we kept her busy, like every opportunity that was in front of her, we allowed her to do that. We sent her to camps. We sent her to like we let her engage in all kinds of extracurricular activities. We supported her sports, and they were saying that's really what kind of gave her an edge when she was applying. So I was like, oh, okay. So for those of you who are parents, I I don't know, I highly recommend it
I remember
if you
going
want
to
your
like
kid to go to college.
some of the summer camps that NAU hosted, be like a week or something. Those were fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Which ones did you go to?
I used to go to the Saturday Academy in junior high, and
Mm-hmm.
then also in junior high, eighth grade. We went to like it was just like a week summer camp at NAU, and we
Mm-hmm.
learned about forest fires and forestry.
Oh, nice.
And my
Oh,
mom
I
was like,
love
"Oh,
NEU for that.
Kelsey, you're gonna go there to learn how to start them?" I was like, "No, mom. I like to burn candles and different things when I was younger."
Oh wow. Were you like a pyro?
A little bit,
Like
yeah.
pooping around with a lighter?
Not with a lighter, like I'd set a little thing up
Oh,
with candles
matches.
and just like burn paper
Oh.
or like just watch the candles burn and just play with the wax. So my mom was like, "You're gonna start forest fires, Kelsey." But it was a
Oh
fun
my goodness.
program. I learned a lot. I never went into forestry, but it's interesting to see how they try to combat forest fires. And like the
Mhm.
easiest way is to just do smaller forest fires to get rid
Mhm.
of all of the debris.
Mhm. Yeah, it is cool. I had a friend, my friend Chato. He he was a forestry major, and then he also, I'm pretty sure that he also volunteered with the Hot Shots. So he knew like about all the different kinds of trees and vegetation in this entire region. Like it was really cool. Like his knowledge of plants and trees was pretty impressive. And then he knew all the protocols too in dealing with wild animals. It was pretty cool. And then I guess whenever like he would also know too, like he was the one that taught me how to identify if a forest fire is controlled, or if it's like if it's controlled or out of control. He was like, if the smoke is black, it's out of control. If it's white, it's under control. I'm like, okay. So he's like, you don't have to panic if A, you know what I mean? Only panic if it's C. So yeah, it was interesting.
Yeah, it's just good to know, especially if you're surrounded by forest fires, or
Mhm.
areas that are in danger of forest fires every year.
Mhm. So,
So, did we want to bring up this topic, or do we want to bring up another topic that I saw going around social media?
um, I'll let you pick. I know you're kind of like, I don't know.
Well, we'll start with this topic, and then we'll go with the next, and we'll see if it eases
Okay.
the blow of this next of this next topic of like. So I've been seeing that question of like, you're a woman, you're in the forest. What would you rather run into, a bear or a man?
A bear. I would choose a bear. Men in the
Same.
woods are scary.
Same. So, chat, if you were alone in the woods, would you rather run into a bear or a man? Just say bear or man. I don't need a big essay.
Y'all share your story in the chat. Hey. I just want to share in the chat a really nice comment that Brady made. He said, I missed y'all. It's not the same without Adrian. LOL. Aw,
Right?
thanks, Brady.
Last live, I was like, I don't know what else to talk about. I'll just re-talk about everything I just said because Adrian's the one who goes off talking.
I know. You're like, the tea is Adrian's not here. Ew.
Right?
Yeah. All right. So let's move on to the next topic.
Yeah, the next topic is like I've been seeing like ever since I got done with the workshop because I was like really heavy into like
Mhm.
getting all the materials and making sure I had all of my educational stuff together because sometimes you forget people don't know why you would set up a shot a specific way. So I was really working on that and not really on social media or engaging. And I've been hearing a lot of like negative things about President Nigrin, like not a news
Yeah.
story, but like a meme of a post. So I don't know what's going on. Something about like maybe harassment or mistreatment or negative treatment in the office. That's as much as I've,
Hmm.
gotten from the memes. So if chat knows what's going
Yeah.
on, that'd be nice because I just didn't have the bandwidth to like deep dive into what was going on, especially with what happened the past couple of days, deep diving into another like really heavy
Yeah.
controversial topic. Um, just wasn't what I need right now.
I know, right?
So if anyone in the chat,
Whoa.
what's the tea on that?
Yeah. What do you guys know? Explain. Explain to us what these memes are about. A.
25 words or less. Let's go.
I know. Well, I know a little bit about this because the AG posted something. So